from an article in your trusty Advanced magazine for February. Almost done for February. Want to check the newsstands or your subscription box to see if that March issue has arrived yet. But for today, today's article is an education article, Outsourcing Our Memory. The danger or the risk of asking Google and AI for all the answers. So it's an interesting article about how there's a temptation for us in this modern day that we live in to become over-dependent, over-reliant on Google and AI to remember things for us. And it's an interesting article. It's not just, oh, don't use Google and AI. There's other ideas there too, but we thought for the live stream here, why don't we talk about memory? And so you've got already your poll question, our poll question, which you can respond to. How good is your memory? Photographic. You ever had a photographic memory, can just remember anything? It's almost like a superhuman power. I'm pretty sharp. Thank goodness for Post-it notes. And what was the question? Just having a little bit of fun there. How good was your memory? Let us know in the poll. Agatha, hello. Hi, always good to see you, Agatha. And Kaysen. We've learned that his name is actually Kaysen. Yes, Kaysen, nice to meet you. Good afternoon. Agatha, Teacher Christine's headband is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
It's new, so thank you for noticing.
All right, thank you, Agatha. But yeah, Christine, how would you say, how good is your memory?
Post-its, please. I need Post-it notes. I write everything down. My short-term memory is a little too short-term. I hear it and it's gone.
Right.
So for me, I write everything down.
I know. It's actually the same for me. It's how I would respond to the poll question. How good is your memory? Thank goodness for Post-it notes. I mean, sure, I can remember my name, you know, and I can remember the basic stuff, but I will more often than not write important things down on a Post-it note to remind myself, usually something I have to do, some sort of task.
To-dos,
you know, we tend to have more difficulty remembering the things we don't really want to do. Mm-hmm. We have no trouble remembering, you know, our favorite movie or whatnot. But yeah, Christine and I actually have a little shared background in that we both have a theater background. We've both performed on stage as actors in plays or musicals. And Christine, one question that every actor gets asked sooner or later by someone who's just seen them perform is, how do you remember all those lines? Christine, how do you remember all those lines without Post-it notes?
It's not easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and I always try to not just memorize the lines, but I try to do things while I'm speaking the lines.
Yes.
Washing dishes, walking around, doing some sort of task, so that I know that it's so far like implanted in my brain that when I'm thinking about other things that are going on, or oh no, my costume, something's going wrong, I still can remember what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And of course, the emotion of the moment, and it becomes natural once you sort of get inside the character.
Yeah. Repetition helps.
Repetition.
That's why
is
the
very
rehearse,
important.
you know, they have the rehearsals for theater. Mm-hmm. Same for me though, what she said about connecting a movement of some kind, a motion, with the line that you have to remember, or if it's several lines, that can help remember. So it's not just up here in your head, but it's also connected to, oh, when I turn left, that's when I say this speech. When I raise my arm, that's when I say this speech, that sort of thing. But yeah, as an actor also, once you get a sense of the character that you're playing and how they would respond, then it starts to feel more natural and it just comes.
Exactly.
Okay, so
I see Alex has joined us. Hi, Alex.
Hello, Alex. Nice to have you with us. Joshing, just take notes. Yes, gotta have those Post-it notes or a notepad or some sort of thing. Steve, hello, Steve. Today I'm learning how to go to bed earlier because every time if we don't go to bed on time, it will cost memory loss. You're absolutely right, Steve.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was researching how to improve your memory, you know, a little bit just for the live stream here. And so much of what helps your memory is what helps your health in general.
Yes,
that's very true. Limit smoking and alcohol, get regular exercise, get a good night's sleep, eat a healthy diet. All these things, in addition to giving you good, you know, bodily and physical health, also help preserve your memory. All our memories tend to decline a little bit as we get older. That's a natural thing, but you can prevent that. You can, sort of hold it off. Restrain it just by living a good, healthy life.
And by learning new things. If you really want to keep dementia away, you want to prevent dementia in your life, learn something new. So especially something that's different from what you normally do.
Yes.
So like I love to dance. So if I learn a new dance, that's not going to help my memory that well in keeping dementia away. But if I start doing Sudoku or some mathing, which I don't like math, but if I do math, that's going to really help my brain and help my memory. So you've got to try new things.
Yes. Or learning a foreign language.
Yes.
A terrific thing for
Absolutely.
improving your memory. And we've sort of stumbled into our discussion question here, so we'll just put it up on the screen for you. You guys have already got the sense of it here. But what tip do you all have for improving your memory or for just remembering things? Improving your memory, kind of a whole separate field there, but just how do you remember those important things that you need to remember? Let us know in the comments below. But here we go. Let's give you some vocabulary so you can grow and practice your English in the area of talking about memory. And we just were mentioning about things you can do to improve your memory, or how do you remember things. Here's a word for you: chunk. C-H-U-N-K, chunk. And a chunk can mean just a sort of large piece of something. Break off a chunk of cheese for me from that big wheel of cheese, something like that.
That sounds
but
nice.
Christine, when we're talking about memory, what does chunk or chunking mean?
Yeah, it means to divide something. So for example, if you're trying to remember a phone number, we often will have them chunked in 3 or 4 letters, and so or numbers. So that's a way to remember a phone number. So by chunking it, by putting it as a piece together, it helps you to remember better.
Right, so instead of remembering 212-324-1651, I just remember 212-324-1651. It's almost, for me, I don't know about you guys, I don't know about you, Christine, but for me it's almost like remembering 3 words instead of 9 numbers, or 10 numbers, I guess that is. That was my phone number when I was growing up stateside back in the 1980s. I don't think it's still working anymore, but sorry, whoever's at that line, if you get some calls
Now they're
now.
calling you.
My bad. Agatha, hello. Again, make it visible all the time. Out of sight equals out of mind.
That's where Post-its come in.
Yes, good expression too. Out of sight, out of mind. If we don't see something, we tend to think of it less.
That's true.
Than if it's something that we do see. And Steve, I remembered teacher Christine played a rich person at the Journey of Christmas.
That is true.
And it's a really great performance.
Thank you.
You have
Thank
some
you
fans
so
out
much.
there. Between headbands and your acting.
Yeah, I know. You guys are so nice. Thank you so
We're going
much.
to have Christine on more often. But let's give you another vocab word here. Oh, this is a tricky one. And this is a good one to know, but you really won't hear it outside of talking about memory. But it's another memory technique. Here you go. Ready? Mnemonic. M-N-E-M-O-N-I-C. Mnemonic.
It's kind of a fun spelling word.
I think it's the only word in English that I can think of with a silent M.
I'm trying to think if you're right or wrong. You probably.
Yeah, a silent
very
M.
unusual.
I can't think of it.
Yeah,
It
it's
should
very
be mnemonic,
Mnemonic.
but it's just, you only hit the N. Mnemonic. And Christine, what's mnemonic?
So it's when you use a rhyme or a sentence to help you remember something more.
Right.
So it's a way of condensing something, but you have memory attached to the word. So one example, if you're teaching English, is using fanboys. So this is where you're talking about coordinating conjunctions. So help me out for the for.
Right. Fanboys, F-A-N-B-O-Y-S.
So the first letter connects to the word that you're trying to remember.
Right. So F for, F-O-R, A for and, A-N-D, fan, F-A-N,
for
nor.
nor.
Like neither this nor that, N-O-R.
B.
Fan, B, but, B-U-T. O, or, O-R. Y, yet. Y, it was a good day, yet I didn't go outside.
And
or
S for so.
For so.
Yeah.
Fanboys, and there are all your coordinating conjunctions. Next time you're taking an English test or just need to, bring out a mnemonic. Here's another mnemonic that I learned a long, long time ago. My very elderly mother just served us 9 pickles.
I like it that it's a picture that you can see in your head. So what is it?
My very elderly mother just served us 9 pickles. Those are the planets of our solar system.
Oh.
Mercury, Venus, my very Earth, Mars, elderly mother, and so on. Now, I know Pluto isn't really counted as a planet anymore, but this was
a long time ago. Back when
I learned it.
Before it got demoted.
Right, so now I guess it's just my very elderly mother just served us 9.
9 of whatever.
9 something. But Kason, hello, there are quite a few strategies of memorizing things, yes, you're right, such as word hook technique. I don't know that one, Kason. If you have a chance, give us a little intro to it in the comments. Word hook technique. I've not heard of that.
Yeah, I can't think of what that would be, but I'm very curious.
And Agatha says, I think of sea anemone. Yes, anemone and mnemonic. Yeah, very similar, although the M is pronounced in anemone, but it sounds like mnemonic.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a mnemonic to remember your anemones, if you can keep all those letters in your head. And Practice Noob, hello Practice Noob, good to see you. I've always struggled to memorize new English words or idiom until I connected the words to images or actions, which makes recalling them easily.
Absolutely.
Yes, like Christine was saying, the mnemonic is often an image, my very elderly mother, which thereby helps us with remembering whatever it is, the content we're trying to remember. And also, like Practice Noob mentioned, connecting it to an action.
Yeah, the more sensory you can make something, the easier it is to remember. So using your sight, using your hearing, using your sense of touch, using your sense of smell. I used to tell my students that if they wanted to do well on a test, do the same thing when they're studying for their test as when they're taking their test, whether that's you wear the same perfume or whatever it is. Like sometimes people would take dryer sheets. We don't really use dryers in Taiwan, but they have a strong smell, and they would put it in front of them as they studied, and then during the test they would take it out too, and the smell would help them remember what they had studied. So
interesting. Now see, I'd be writing the answers down on that little thing, so that's probably wouldn't work for me.
Yeah, they're a little more strict about those things these days.
Did you see just now how, as Christine was talking, she was saying you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. That is, connecting it to an action, connecting it to a visual, definitely.
That's true.
Something else you said I wanted to mention, but now I can't remember it. So maybe it'll come back to me. But let's give you some more vocabulary here. We've still got a little time here. Here's a good one. Let's give you 2 words here. We'll do one first and then the other, but we kind of want to learn them both at the same time. Retrieve. R-E-T-R-I-E-V-E. Retrieve. Christine, what does retrieve mean?
Retrieve means to get back from somewhere. So if we're talking about memory, retrieving it is it's like pulling it out from somewhere. So for example, if I haven't been in Taiwan for a long time, sometimes my vocabulary is hard to retrieve. And I have to spend some time here, and then it sort of kick-starts my Mandarin, and then suddenly it's easy to find those vocabulary words again. So you might find that as well. Sometimes if you haven't used a word for a while, it seems like it's further back there somewhere and it's harder to retrieve.
Yeah, even in your native language. I can attest that there are, I speak English, but there's still English words. If I haven't said them recently, then if an opportunity comes up where I have the impulse,
what's that word?
We have expressions for that sort of thing. Maybe you've heard of, that's just like, I can't remember, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Tip of my tongue.
It's on the tip of my tongue, because you can feel, you know the word.
You know it.
But somehow you can't just produce it right then and there. So it's on the tip of my tongue. Steve, for me to have a good tip to improve memory, I will do word puzzles. Yes. Draw cartoon characters, with the comics. To remember which personality should they play and learn new things, such as learning tongue twister. That's very good.
Very nice.
Christine and I, of course, from our theater background, lots of actors use tongue twisters to warm up vocally, to warm up their mouths, also warm up their minds before a performance. Do you know a tongue twister?
Red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather.
One.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Red
Yes.
leather, yellow leather.
Oh, we used to say that over and over again.
Yes.
Agatha says, recall things often can improve memory too. Yes, repetition.
Absolutely.
Repetition. That's how. That's the main way I think actors learn the lines.
Yes,
is by saying them and saying them and saying them, and hopefully beginning to organically connect to the emotional life that they are expressing.
That's right.
But you have to do it over and over again. There's a point where you just have to do it over and over again. And Kason says, in my understanding, mnemonics is one kind of word hook. Okay, that's a form of word hook.
Got it.
Which means using individual alphabet or Chinese character as a hook to retrieve another idea. Yeah, that is similar to the mnemonics. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. And Steve, is retrieve similar to the word surrender? Not really. No, surrender is when an army gives up in the battle to the superior army, they surrender. Or you can hear it, used more casually, like he surrendered the book back to me after I demanded that he give it back to me. I mean, technically that's right. You won't hear that sort of use too often, but that's what surrender means. But retrieve is more like you're going to get. Think of a dog. There's a breed called a golden retriever because they're so good at bringing back things, that the owner throws out, or originally I suppose it was during hunting.
That's right.
Archer would shoot it, and the dog would go out and bring back the carcass of whatever it was. It would retrieve it. So we mentioned that we wanted to discuss that word right next to another one, and that other one is reminisce. A little longer. R-E-M-I-N, I have trouble with this one. R-E-M-I-N-I-S-C-E, reminisce. Because both retrieve and reminisce will come up in discussions of memory. Christine, how would you define reminisce?
Reminisce is to think back. Usually when you're reminiscing, you're talking about the good old days, something that you remember. Like if you have a smell and suddenly you're like, oh, this reminds me of my grandmother's house and how she always made this really delicious dish. So reminisce is to think back.
Yes, think back on positive things.
On something that you
we generally would not say, let's reminisce about that time the house burned.
Yeah, people would be like, no thanks, I don't want to reminisce about that.
You might want to remember that in some way, but you wouldn't use the word reminisce.
Yeah.
Reminisce is a pleasant remembering of something. Exactly. Yes. And Alex says acrostics. Yes, acrostics. Everyone know what acrostics are? That's where you have a word and each letter of the word, like in a rhyme, there are poems in the Bible, actually, in the Old Testament, in which the verses of the poem, each one begins with a letter that spells out a word, or just the Hebrew alphabet, I think. I see. But that's an acrostic, also a good way to remember something, because then you just have to remember the one letter.
And it's attached.
Yeah, and it's attached to the concept. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're just about done here. So let's throw you one more, and Christine almost mentioned this. It's called stimulation. A couple of you have mentioned it in the comments. She's mentioned it. To help your memory and keep your memory going into old age, you want to always have stimulation of it, meaning to always challenge it, to always use it, to always stimulate it.
Wake it up.
Yeah. How else, is there any other way to understand stimulation?
Well, I would just say that stimuli is something that causes you to notice or to pay attention. So a color, a sense. And so stimulation is, it's attached to stimuli. There's something that causes you to remember or to focus or to see.
Yes, and we even have another expression for that in English. Use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it. With the memory, use it. Keep learning, learn a new language, learn how to paint, read a new book. Stimulation for the memory helps preserve the memory. I mean, we're all going to go at some point, but you can make it last longer if it has some stimulation.
Yeah, and Steve here, he says that he plays an instrument to keep his memory fresh, which is excellent.
Yeah, you have to remember all the notes to play or the words of the song you're going to sing. Another good tip.
That's great.
Thanks so much, everyone, for the tips, for the sharing. We have to call it a day here today, but we'll be back next Monday. Remember, next Monday, for Advanced Live Stream. We'll have another topic for you. And so in the meantime, keep practicing that English. We'll see you in a week.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.